Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel. Today's Saturday. Today is September the 15th, 2018, and the U.S. government announced a law change, ruling change on, I believe it was September 13th, which would have made it Thursday. It might have been just yesterday, the 14th. But anyways, they announced a new change to the sales tax law. So I'm going to link my video down below about the new sales tax rules here in the United States. So just a quick recap for all of you that might not have seen the video or may not be familiar with the new sales tax changes for 2018. Now, actually, most of these laws look like they're going to take effect on the 1st of January 2019. They were announced just in the last couple of months. Essentially, the way that it worked before is if you are an online seller, you are responsible for collecting sales tax within the state that you're in. So I'm in Florida. Any customer that buys something from me here in Florida, I have to collect our sales tax rate, which happens to be 6%, plus we have a county one. It ends up being a total of 7 for me. Certain counties are 6.5, 7.5, 8. They just change by county. Some states do a blanket number, and some states have a state sales tax plus what they call like a county surtax. And so you have to find that out for your state and your county. Everywhere is different. There's all kinds of websites you can look it up. But anyways, that's what would happen. Now, the exception is if you have what's called a nexus or a presence in another state. If you employ anyone, whether it's an actual employee, a salesperson, even a virtual assistant in another state, you then have to start collecting sales tax for those customers. So let's say that I hire somebody to do listing for me full time, and I send them all the pictures and they just take care of doing all the listing, and they work out of California. I would then, every time a customer has to buy, or every time a customer does buy something for me and they're located in California, I have to collect California's sales tax amount from that customer and send that money to California. Or I can just pay it out of the purchase price. So if they buy something for me for $100, and let's say California is 8%, I think they're actually higher, but I would owe California $8. Now, either I can charge the customer 100 plus 8, or I could just pay it out of my pocket. There's a lot of reasons why some people charge it and some people don't. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. But anyways, you owe $8 to California, long story short. The other reason is if you have inventory in another state. So let's say I don't have any employees anywhere else, but I rent a storage unit in California and I'm importing all my goods to California and it's going into a storage unit in California and I'm just holding it there, and that's just what I choose to do. I still owe California sales tax. So a presence or a nexus means you employ somebody or you have a presence, either a physical location, brick and mortar, a store, an office, or you store your inventory there. Any one of those three things: employee, inventory, or building, location, any kind of mailing address, office, whatever. If you have any of that in another state, you owe sales tax to those states in addition to your own home state. That's how sales tax worked previous to now. And so for all of you Amazon sellers, FBA sellers, when you are shipping inventory out to FBA warehouses, you are supposed to be, by law, collecting sales tax for each of those locations that you have your inventory stored at, collecting the sales tax and sending it to the appropriate state. Now, let's fast forward to, I believe the original announcement was either May or June of this year, 2018, and the laws have changed. So how did the laws change now? So basically, the governments were losing out on a lot of sales tax collection, state by state. That's because a lot of companies that have locations and inventory and employees all over the country were not submitting the sales tax. They're not doing it properly. Even some people were not doing it for their own home state. Now, I always submit my Florida sales tax. I pay it every quarter. Now, every state is different. Some states are monthly, some states are quarterly, some states are yearly. Here in Florida, based on my revenues, I have to pay 4 times a year, quarterly. And I'm sending in sometimes $300, $400, $500 a quarter, depending on how many Florida people bought from me. Now, all of my inventory, all of my employees, everything is here in Florida. As far as Amazon FBA and Amazon sales go, that's a different story. I sell a lot of my Amazon inventory FBM. Again, it's stored here, it's sold here. It only has to pay for Florida people. If I have anything in another state in FBM or FBA inventory and it sells from that state, then I would owe for that state, but it rarely ever happens. I have had to pay sales tax to some other states. It's happened and I've paid it, but it's rare. It's rare for me because I don't have thousands of items all over the country like some people do, in which case it would be very common for them every month to have to pay it, or every quarter, whatever. So now the states want to combat that, and they want to collect these sales tax from everybody on every transaction. Since they're not able to collect it kind of voluntarily, even though you're supposed to, people weren't doing the honest engine, you know, the honest game and sending that money in. So now they're going to force it. How are they going to force it? Well, when a customer goes on eBay or Amazon or Etsy or anywhere else for that matter, they are going to automatically charge the sales tax amount to the transaction. So for example, you're charging somebody 10 bucks, they're going to tack the 7 cents on for you. Now, there was some discussion over whether you would have to, you would be paid that 7 cents and then you'd have to fill it out and send it to every state, which seemed ridiculous because you would then be filing 50 sets of sales tax or more. And because there were some counties that have their own individual filing, it could have been hundreds of filings. And then there was talk that maybe the websites, the eBays and the Amazons and Etsys of the world, would go ahead and take care of it for you, which would be phenomenal, fantastic. And maybe there was talk that third-party companies would charge to have it done. Otherwise, you would have to like employ an in-house bookkeeping accounting person just to take care of it. It'd be nuts. And so it wasn't realistic. And so it was announced just a couple days ago that basically, and eBay announced this on a community board, which I will go ahead, or through a community message, which I will link below as well. Basically, you're not going to have to do anything. So several states, 3 of them in fact, have said that they are going to auto-charge the customer. The customer comes on and buys an item from you for $10. The customer is actually going to be charged $10.07 or $10.70 or whatever the heck amount, $10.70 that it comes out to. And they are not going to pay you $10.70. You're going to get your $10. The payment is going to come in as $10.70 from the customer. The 70 cents is going to be remitted and sent to the state on your behalf for you. It's going to be like nothing ever changed, which is probably best case scenario. So props to them for making that decision. It's on 3 states right now. Those 3 states are Washington, Pennsylvania, and Oklahoma. Now it says Washington is going to be the 1st of January 2019. Pennsylvania and Oklahoma look like they will not be until July 1st of 2019. So what does this mean? People in those 3 states, when you go online and you buy anything, there's automatically going to be sales tax added to it. That's the only change for you guys in those states. Those of us selling to customers in those states do not have to do anything. Until those dates, January 1st and then July 1st, which I'll guarantee those laws, and I will get a solid, like for sure, those are the dates, because that's weird. They start in July and the other one in January. But on those, up until those dates, from now until those dates, you still need to collect sales tax if you're responsible for it in those states, either if you're located in those states or if you have inventory, employees or locations in those states. You're going to need to still collect sales tax and send it. If you haven't been and you don't have any of those things and you don't have to worry about it, and starting on those dates, eBay and Etsy and Amazon will take care of it for you. I believe Etsy and Amazon have already started with a couple of those states and collecting sales tax just recently. I think Etsy just started and Amazon started a few months ago. The reason that eBay didn't prior is because eBay doesn't actually collect the payments, PayPal does, the seller does, and so it was completely on you. Now that eBay's becoming a payment processor in partnership with Adyen, the laws kind of changed for them, and so they're going to have to start doing what they're doing here by collecting and remitting it. It's based on a law that's called the, and bear with me while I find it, the Marketplace Facilitator Law, saying that the marketplace that's handling the transactions essentially is responsible for the sales tax remittance, and so that's why eBay's doing it, because it's in their best interest, and it works good for us too. So congratulations on that. Thank you so much, eBay. Props to them for taking care of this for us. We don't have to do anything. It's awesome. I just wanted to let you guys know that because I saw some posts of people copying and pasting this and then wondering what they needed to do, how things were going to change, how it's going to affect their business. As of right now, it does not affect you at all. So we also know that there's going to be some thresholds for states like South Dakota, North Dakota, Alabama, saying 100,000, 250,000. I believe there's no threshold for these 3 states. They're collecting sales tax on everything on your behalf, but you don't have to handle it. So just keep that in mind. It's also not going to put you at a disadvantage when you're selling. So if I'm in Florida and I have a $20 item, and you're in California and you have a $20 item, and somebody from one of these states, say Pennsylvania, has, I don't know, 7% sales tax. I don't know their sales tax, but let's say they go on to either one of us to buy from us, it's going to charge them the same 7% in-state sales tax. So no matter who they buy from, their sales tax is the same. So the winner, if they're looking for price, is going to be whichever one of us puts our price as the cheapest. So hopefully that clears it up for you guys. Long story short, nothing changing, nothing you have to do. Sales tax will be collected, totaled, and sent on your behalf. all customers are going to have to pay it, so it's fair playing field. Your pricing won't have to get affected by it. Still charge what you want to charge. And at the end of the day, that's how the online e-commerce world is changing. It's also going to help brick and mortar compete a little bit. It's going to help these brick and mortar stores be a little bit more competitive in the price. I still don't think they're going to get there, but a little bit better. So there you go, guys. Sales tax changes again into 2018. They start in 2019. Don't worry about them. Don't have to do anything. If anything changes from that, I'll be sure to update you. And if you need to know about those updates and notifications and want to keep up with them, make sure you subscribe to the channel as always. Make sure you turn your notifications on. Click that little bell and it'll tell you right when I post everything. It'd be awesome. I'd love it. I appreciate you guys. And we're growing. We're getting closer to 100,000. Remember, if you're not subscribed, you can't win the 100,000 subscriber giveaway here on YouTube when we hit it, hopefully by the end of the year. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.